Evening, everyone. So, welcome to this wonderful Sunday evening. And I thought to keep it at 5 so that Sunday late evening तुम्हारे पास free हो जाएगी. You know, after a very scintillating match that we had yesterday in which India clinched the series. You know, so Sunday looks more relaxed. Imagine करो आज मैच हो रहा होता तो हम सब उसमें फंस जाते ना. Yeah. So tab tak na, by the time rest of the people come and join and all those things happen, right? कुछ चीजें करते हैं, कुछ बातें करते हैं. Okay. We have our guest Sartaj. He is a pass out of Thapar and then I am Bangalore. And I requested him, ex-student of mine, so I requested him that why can't we connect with the young aspirants of CAT 21 across all our centers? And he said, sir, why not? Right. So he's been working for the past 4 years in PTM, and he'll talk more about his own journey, how things happen, and what MBA basically is all about, right? After MBA is after about graduating out of the B school, right? When you go into a B school, you just follow a curriculum which is given to you. You don't have too many things to do, right? You just follow. But once you come out of a B school, then you decide what to do and what to follow and what not to follow. So it's all about that. So एक interaction है. You can ask questions in the chat box. I'll be there as a moderator. Right? That would happen. Okay. So one question from yesterday's match, right? कल के मैच से एक question. Indian innings were scintillating, no doubts about it. What do you think was the change? You can say the game changer over when England was batting. आपके हिसाब से गेम चेंजिंग ओवर कौन सा था? Which was the game changing over? Yeah, I can read the chats. Yep. Game changing over कौन सा था? Okay. Abhimanyu has given an answer. Bhuvi's 12th over. Okay. Others. बाकियों को क्या लग रहा है? गेम चेंजिंग ओवर कौन सा था? अरे देखा करो भैया, क्रिकेट देखा करो प्लीज. क्रिकेट की क्रिटिकल मैचेस, फुटबॉल के क्रिटिकल मैचेस देखा करो. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट लेसन्स टू बी लर्नड. अभी डिस्कस करता हूँ 2-4 लेसन्स. बटलर का विकेट, that was in Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's over only, right? ओवर ओवर ओवर, हाँ। ओके ओके, एक डिफरेंट सा आंसर आया। आई वुड लाइक दैट पर्सन टू अनम्यूट। अनुज अग्रवाल, you say it was before Bhubaneswar's over, Rahul Chahar's 11th over. So what was happening there? 13th। तुम तो भुवनेश्वर के ओवर के बाद शार्दुल के ओवर में चले गए। क्या नाम है उनका, क्या बोला मैंने? हाँ अनुज, चहर का
यस सर।
ओवर गेम चेंजिंग लग रहा है।
सर उससे पहले सर बटलर मार रहा था, जो चेहरे ने थोड़ा स्लो डाला तो रन भी कम गए थे, और फिर उसके बाद भूवी प्रेशर भी आ रहा।
प्रेशर आया, करेक्ट। फिर भुवी की 3 या 4 बॉल बिल्कुल अच्छी गई, अगेन नो रन्स बीइंग स्कोर्ड, ऑलमोस्ट डॉट्स या वंस, and that is where Josh Butler lost his
विकेट।
he lost his cool and flashed, right? It was not a
यस
deliberate
सर।
flashing, and that was the end of Josh Butler. Okay, okay, बढ़िया बढ़िया। इससे मैनेजमेंट लेसन क्या समझ में आ रहा है? What was the management lesson learned and how is it related to CAT? जो तुम CAT का पेपर देने जाओगे, इस पूरे मैथ से तुमको क्या क्या अंडरस्टैंडिंग्स मिल रही हैं? गिव मी कपल ऑफ थिंग्स दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग्स आर देयर दैट कैन बी ड्रॉन फ्रॉम दिस मैच, लास्ट मैच, एंड विच वुड बी एप्लीकेबल इन कैट पेपर, जो कैट के दिन एप्लीकेबल रहेगा। Okay. Be patient and keep the mind calm. Just India kept patience in the first 10 overs. Yes, India were doing good. So they kept patience. Okay. 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 How do you relate it to cat? Cat में patience रखना पड़ेगा, बोलना आसान है, but what exactly would happen? हाँ बोलो। तुमको नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, ग्रुप में डालो सबको। सो गए हैं तुम्हारे कैट 21 वालों को, तो तुमने भेजा है। आई एम लिसनिंग। So certain comments came. Okay. Shabazz, you're there? Shabazz बोल रहा हूँ यार. सरताज. ओके ठीक है. देखो दो चीजें होती हैं. राइट. नहीं स्कोर की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं. देखो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है जो कैट एग्जाम के दिन जो आपको सबको करना है एम कैट्स के लिए, एम कैट्स के साथ. पहली बात तो जब भी आप एम कैट दो, टेक द एम कैट एज सीरियसली एज द कैट. राइट. डोंट टेक की एम कैट मॉक है तो मैं बीच में फोन उठा लूंगा, व्हाट्सएप भी चेक कर लूंगा एंड ऑल दोस रबिश. वो मत करना. टेक एम कैट्स विद फुल सिंसियरिटी, फुल 3 hours ऑफ सिंसियरिटी. ठीक है, पहली चीज. दूसरी चीज इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट जो गलती होती है, क्या गलती होती है कि आप थोड़ी देर एक आध क्वेश्चन में अटक गए. यू आर स्टक इन अ क्वेश्चन और उस क्वेश्चन में 5-6 मिनट लगा दिए और उसके बाद वो क्वेश्चन नहीं सॉल्व हुआ. व्हाट हैपेंस? यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग नर्वस, यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग जिटरी, यू स्टार्ट लूजिंग होप कि यार अब तो पता नहीं क्या होगा. सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ठीक है एक आध ओवर अच्छा चला गया था. मेरे हिसाब से भी जो चहर का ओवर था prior to Bhuvi, right? That was the turning point because that was the over that started building up the pressure. और उसके बाद भुवी ने जो 3 या 4 बॉलें डाली वो और प्रेशर को बिल्डअप कर गया. एंड दैट इज वेयर जोस बटलर लॉस्ट हिज कंपोजर. राइट. क्योंकि जिस तरह से वो बैटिंग कर रहा था, द वे ही एंड मलान वर बैटिंग, प्रोबेबली एक आध ओवर ऊपर नीचे 7-8 रन 6 रन बने हैं उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला था. यू कुड हैव ऑलरेडी, यू कैन ऑलवेज पिक इट अप. हो सकता था, दैट इज ऑलवेज पॉसिबल. बट लूजिंग योर कूल बिकॉज 4-5 बॉल इधर उधर हो गई हैं and you throw away your wicket, you know that proved out to be a very costly mistake. तो हमारे साथ भी यही होता है कैट पे. I have written cat 20 times. तो मैं तुमको बता रहा हूँ कि हम कई बार स्टक हो जाते हैं एक क्वेश्चन में और हमें लगता है यार ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा है और हम उसके पीछे पड़ जाते हैं और होता क्या है, that spoils the whole section, that spoils the whole tempo. तो आइडिया ये है कि ठीक है थोड़ा टाइम लग रहा है, डोंट गिव अप. और कभी भी फ्रस्ट्रेशन बिल्डअप नहीं होने देना चाहिए. नहीं हो रहा है एक क्वेश्चन छोड़ दो, आगे बढ़ जाओ. दूसरा नहीं हो रहा है वो भी छोड़ दो, आगे बढ़ जाओ. भाई आफ्टर ऑल DILR में 32 क्वेश्चन होते हैं, क्वांट में 34 होते हैं. तो नहीं हो रहा है तो कोई बात नहीं ना, छोड़ दो, आगे बढ़ो. देयर इज एन ऑप्शन टू स्किप, जो कि क्रिकेट में नहीं होता है. आपको जो बॉल आई उसको खेलना पड़ेगा, बस स्किप करने का ऑप्शन थोड़ा ना. ठीक है. सो बी वेरी वेरी क्लियर अबाउट वन थिंग. One thing, let us be very very clear about one thing. सरताज तुम्हारी फोटो थोड़ी सी हेजी सी आ रही है, कैमरे का लेंस देखना पड़ेगा क्या तेरे?
Yeah, just checking sir.
Yeah.
Is it better?
थोड़ी हेजी है.
कैमरे का इशू है सर थोड़ा.
ये देखो वर्किंग करने लगते हैं लोग, इतने पैसे कमाते हैं, उसके बाद भी देखो कैमरे का इशू आ रहा है. बताओ बोला कहाँ कर रहा है इतने सारे पैसे कमा के. हाँ. Okay, good evening. Welcome, Sartaj, to this, very, very eager audience who are all here to listen to you. And thank you for sparing your Sunday evening, जो कि जॉब वालों के लिए थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है. संडे और सैटरडे को उन लोग बोलते हैं हमारा फैमिली टाइम है भाई. Right? So it's really an honor and I'm really grateful कि तू आ चुका है आज. That is very, very good. So without, taking more time here and there, sure. I think we can start off the query. और जैसे जैसे क्वेश्चंस आएंगे हम चैट बॉक्स में देख सकते हैं. चैट टू एवरीवन में कर देना so that या चैट टू सरताज कर दो जिसको भी क्वेश्चंस पूछने हैं. एंड आई कैन इवन मॉडरेट दैट, वो भी कर सकता हूं मैं, है ना. एंड बाकी सारे लोग एक्सेप्ट सरताज एंड मी कैन कीप देयर वीडियोस ऑफ. ठीक है, क्योंकि फिर वो इशू आएगा. एंड कीप योरसेल्फ म्यूटेड. कोशिश करेंगे यदि तुम्हारे क्वेश्चंस हैं तो हम उसको उसमें आंसर कर दें, चैट बॉक्स से ले लें. राइट. So that we don't lose time here and there, right? So Sartaj, how has it been? कैसा चल रहा है भाई?
All good, sir.
Hmm.
COVID has been a challenge, but yeah, then you are taught to be adaptive. You are taught to adapt, so you kind of implement those learnings and move ahead. So yeah.
So let's listen like how is Paytm growing, because what we are seeing is Paytm is definitely growing in COVID.
Right. So, given the kind of business Paytm is in and our dependency, there's no offline presence per se, right? And being in the online market, like all the other players, we have seen kind of influx and a great interest in customers. Of course, Paytm does not need any introduction in terms of brand itself, but in terms of adoption, we have seen the seen adoption in those segments that earlier were a bit hesitant uh, in using digital forms of payments or be it other forms of commerce as well. But yeah, with the lockdown and COVID, the entire COVID scenario, there's a bigger thrust in those segments as well to uh, kind of transact digitally. So I'll use the word transact because then it covers the entire plethora of products across not just banking, but e-commerce, insurance, anything, except A to Z, basically everything.
So how has been work for the last 1 year, you can say, right, where you have been confined to work from home? तो भाई इन लोग को थोड़ा बताओ वर्क फ्रॉम होम में क्या challenges आते हैं?
Right. So, with COVID, it did challenge our traditional thought process of having a kind of a corporate setup and then a personal setup, right? With COVID came about the challenge first was we had to digitize everything. All forms of communication that happened in your corporate setup, be it your offices, right? The challenge came about in digitizing that, make it virtual, right? So the entire process A to Z had to be made virtual. Of course, initially there were a lot of hiccups for the same, but slowly as time went by, those got kind of streamlined for the organizations. But yeah, that the initial 2-3 months did take some time to getting used to it. People also kind of encounter a lot of productivity issues in terms of they could not complete all their tasks because a lot of them required some kind of a physical interface to be done with other people. Then the whole concept of doing virtual meetings. In India, it's not much. The penetration is not as much as it's already penetrated in the European or the US markets. So it took a lot of time to kind of adapt to this form of communication and it being more effective. So slowly again, how do you track? How do you see? Because there is a tendency, you being in office, you know what your subordinates are doing, what your seniors are doing, what your compatriots are doing, right? Being in this virtual startup, disconnected, this whole disjointed fame, it became kind of more, you were more isolated and became difficult to to see what people around you were doing. So then you have to you have to kind of build a system around how do you interact, right? So we kind of moved into a new social platform where we wanted to engage more with our colleagues, our immediate seniors, superiors, and subordinates as well. So that required entire ecosystem being created for this whole interaction itself, because that's what we felt was a kind of a part and parcel of your whole a corporate experience, your whole office experience. And if you take that out, it becomes pretty mundane. So that had to be brought in back to virtually.
So how do you think has been the MBA education instrumental in enabling you handle these you and your colleagues, they are also MBAs, right? So how has MBA education basically, helped you in, taking such kind of a, you can say approach when something unprecedented has happened, right?
Right. So if you go back to your, basically, if you take all your kind of 2 years of experience in a gist, what it does teach you on a very broader scale is kind of shooting in the dark, right? You start from scratch. You start from zero with zero knowledge about anything and everything, right? Be it your projects, be it your clubs, you start from scratch. You don't know anything, right? That's the starting point that you start with. And how do you kind of find your way, right? Meander through all the roadblocks that you find, right? That on a very broad scale, that's what it is all about at the end of the day. Nobody is going to become an expert in a subject in a course that runs for 3 months, right? One trimester. You're not going to become a subject expert. Right? The idea is, how do you take up that challenge? How do you kind of take it head on and see? Because there is not one thing. It's not just one curriculum, right? What we say about MBA, it's an entire journey. It's about the education. It's about how do you understand the industry itself. You need to constantly interact with the industry while you are there. You of course take part in extracurricular activities, be it you can be part of sports, you can be part of cultural activities, and everything goes along, right? You have to find the best way, the most efficient way for yourself to be able to do all these things in a defined amount of time. So that is where your own planning, and that is where the actual learning basically comes over the span of 2 years. So if you kind of replicate here, right, we are starting from scratch. Post COVID, everybody is trying to identify, okay, everybody's trying to figure out from both the aspects of business and of course in the personal space, how do we cope with it? Because there is a life beyond your office hours as well, right? How do you cope with that? The boundaries between your personal space and your workspace kind of got eliminated overnight. And how do you manage that, right? How do you make sure that that boundary is there? How do you make sure that you get your personal time as well in this entire ecosystem? So everything, small bits. I'm not just talking about the corporate side of it. It applies to your life as well. How do you plan it out, right? How do you see things coming in future? Does your industry, given the COVID scenario, does your industry does it have expiry date? Is it valid in today's time, or going forward, do you see, right? So these kind of things, you start thinking, start ideating about them. So all these things in a crux, if you say, if you put that template of what you had learned in those 2 years, it does help you kind of meander, especially with COVID coming in. I feel that one had to strive to identify what kind of roles are going to be relevant now going forward, how it's going to be. Location is no longer a barrier. You can be sitting in India, you can be doing an internship for a company in the US. The locations are not fluid. People are working from n number of places. So is it an opportunity, right? There was always a limitation in terms of location for people to take up job opportunities. Now that limitation is no longer there. So things like these, you start evaluating and you start mitigating all those challenges that you face.
Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of students sitting here are aspirants to CAT 2021, right? So Sataj, अपनी journey share करो. How did you happen to write CAT, and you cleared definitely CAT with a very high percentile, and you finally got an admit in IIM Bangalore, right? So थोड़ा अपनी journey I want you to share, at least 5, 10 minutes, like how did you come to hit about this CAT button की करना है, and then कैसे करना है, कहाँ करना है, and then how to go about it.
Correct.
So what was your strategy in short, right?
Sure. So honestly, for me, CAT came out quite late. I did not prepare at all, or even kind of considered it during my undergrad days. But once I started my first corporate stint with Mondelez, I found that, especially me being a mechanical engineer, there were a lot of limitations to what I could do within that role, right? There was a lot of set scope defined for me. And I didn't like that boundaries being put on what you can or what could not do. And that was the kind of role there was. So I was already exploring, okay, what next best thing to do. And at the same time, said coincidence, a batch of management trainees came about in my organization, right? So these were the trainees who had just completed the MBA and joined the organization. So they do 3-month stints in different setups. So 3-4 people came up in my office setup. And that's where I started interacting with them and started kind of understanding what their journey has been. And that is the time I was more interested towards on the marketing side of MBA initially when I started having a chat, but I did not know exactly what did it entail. So I started interacting with them more, got to know more about, okay, of course, I knew something about that CAT did take place, because to kind of if you want to compete, get admitted to these IIMs, you have to give CAT and n number of other exams. But what does it take? What does it entail? And once you do get admitted to a certain college, what is that 2 years of a journey also? So that's how I got introduced and not got interested. And that's when I started kind of preparing myself along with my kind of my current job at that point of time when I was working. So it was a kind of a 6-year working. So I used to started studying along, because I knew, because of the paucity of time, it would stretch out. So I started preparing alongside, and I used to kind of go for weekend classes mostly. And slowly I moved on. Slowly I got deeper into how to prepare, what are the pointers to learn, because eventually what I realized, if you just take CAT or any other exam, right, be it ZAT, be it IIFT, it's not about how much do you know. It's absolutely not about that. The exam it tests a very different set of skills for you. It tests your, on a very broader scale, your analytical ability to kind of see how best you can do within these limitations, right? So there are n number of questions that you have. Everybody knows you can't answer all of them, right? That's an absolute, it's not going to happen within the defined frame of time. How best you can make use of that time so that you can maximize your outcome out there. That is what the test is all about. It's not about, do you know the formula of X, or do you, how well you can comprehend a passage or a paragraph, right? Or you can whether read a pie chart or not, right? That's certainly not the intent, right? The intent is completely different. These questions just kind of are a way in order to kind of judge your ability to do that. So slowly, once you start giving your mocks, you start realizing a trend, right? You keep changing your tweaking your strategy, keep identifying, and you then look at what is the best result, what kind of strategy gives you the best result. Again, strategy changes from person to person. I've always said that it cannot be same for two very different people. It has to be different. What subjects you want to hit first, right? How much time do you want to spend on a particular question? These are very small nuances, right? And it starts from your how do you prepare for it, right? What best works best for you? Again, independent of the person who's preparing, right? It is very important you define that strategy at the very start, right? You have to start preparing with a plan. That is the most important part, because you'll be whiling away and you're wasting away your time, because you'll be more focused on answering every question and being right than preparing for the exam, right? Solving booklets, of course, it helps. It kind of makes you speed. You cover different types of topics, but that's not the end goal here, right? The end goal is how do you manage your time within the exam while sitting there. And that is what you have to practice for and plan for. Right. Sir, you're on mute, I think so.
So going through the study material, solving the questions, yeah, definitely taking the classes, they do help in basically building up your concepts, correct? But it is all about, I think, how sincerely are you with the AIMCATs, right, Sartaj? And how much time do you devote with analyzing those AIMCATs and your performance, right? Your corrects as well as your wrongs, as well as the ones that you missed completely.
Absolutely, sir. So it's very important to analyze your exam. So you spend your time. I am not sure what is the current duration of exam right now. It's 3 hours, still 3 hours?
Still 3 hours.
Or has the format still 3 years?
3 years. 3 years.
Right. 3 years, right. So 3 hours you spend giving your exam, and you spend 6 hours evaluating. That was my strategy. Again, like I said, every person can have their own strategy, but evaluation is important. Where did you go wrong? It's not about whether you knew the answer or you know. If you are spending too much time on an answer and not moving on to the next question, you need to evaluate that as well. You need to evaluate how much time you're spending on individual questions. And you also had to evaluate an alternate strategy. Had you not answered a particular question, spent that much amount of time on a particular question, then could you have answered those next set of questions and scored more, right? So that analysis has to be done post the AIMCATs, every exam. And I would really suggest to sincerely give those AIMCATs or any exam, right? People go for n number of exams, right? you need to know what is the right balance, right? You can go crazy with giving exams also, but if you don't analyze them, don't learn from them, then they're of no use at the end of the day. So define a balance for yourself, give us sufficient number of AIMCATs and evaluate them. That I would say, on a very broad scale, that would be the raw strategy.
Yeah. Okay, Sartaj, we have a very nice question that has come up, and which asks basically that how has been the CAT preparation be of help, during your MBA program? मतलब CAT preparation का help MBA program में क्या मिला?
Right, no, I get that. So yeah, CAT preparation gives, again, crunch time, 3 hours. You need to decide what to pick, what not to pick. You have to pick your battles, right? MBA is about the same, right? Initial 1 or 2 months, they guide you. The institute, the program will guide you what you have to do. But after that, it's all up to you, right? What courses you pick, what organizations you go do your internships with, what organizations actually do your live projects with. It's all up to you. It's an open book. So you move from a very regimented graduation to a very open setup where you need to decide what path you want to take, right? Again, so that requires you need to you defining a strategy for yourself. Okay, these are 2 years. This is the kind of line of career I want to take, right? And then you kind of backtrack, right? And you plan what kind of journey you need to do, what kind of courses you want to do, what kind of internships you want to do, what kind of even extracurricular activities, right? You want to pick up in order to, because extracurricular activities not only kind of act as a stress buster for you, they also act as a learning. So there are a lot of functional clubs you have, right? Could be marketing, could be finance club, but there's a lot of learning associated with the stream you want to pick up, right? So what kind of even clubs you want to join has an impact on the eventual stream you want to take up. And that is where you make networks with people of the same interest, right? People say who are interested in finance, right? You kind of meet that subset there and you interact and you learn new opportunities. If you say, I'll take my example. I was part of, since I was interested in marketing club, marketing side, I moved to the marketing club initially. That is where you start. I was editor of a leaflet. So in order to do that writing, right, in order to publish that weekly, one had to read through a lot of material about marketing itself. You start from very basics and then you move ahead. Again, that enhances your learning curve. So these were small examples, right? You have to pick your battles within those 2 years as well. And you are in complete ownership of your trajectory that you pick up, right? That is, you cannot put the onus of your career on anybody else within that. It's completely on you. And that is what it teaches you. And in some form, that is what CAT is also, right? You have to pick your battles. But of course, once you get into college, the battles are much bigger and the stakes are higher. Sir, I think so. Mute again.
Somebody has asked another question, which is like, want to know interview and profile building tips. अच्छा, ये बहुत सारे लोग अभी ना, they are in their final year, right? Or despite being a COVID semester, what's Sartaj, like, what can you suggest? मतलब कि क्या करना चाहिए? Profile कैसे build करेंगे यार? ऐसे में college तो चल नहीं रहा है, physical college is out,
right?
तो कैसे build होगा?
File, when you say profile build करना है, if you want to, if you were imagining that I'll move to the interview round, right? And you have to justify, right? Ki, I am worthy of this course or not within that institute, right? Profile build करने की n number of चीजें हैं. आपका college अगर आज के डेट में नहीं चल रहा है, virtually it's happening. I understand, but there are n number of things you can digitally do sitting at home, right? You can do courses that you feel are relevant for your in order to improve your profile, or you think are relevant for the kind of stream you want to pick. Say, for example, you are interested in moving to the finance side, and currently you are an undergraduate, right? You have not at all picked up any finance subject, you have no background, but you want to get into that direction. How do you kind of how will you visualize that interest for the interviewers, right, who are taking an interview? How do you define that, yes, I'm really interested? You can say anything in interview, right? So you have to provide physical evidences within your profile that yes, this is something I'm really interested in. So you can pick up any simple finance course. It could be course related to markets. It could be course related to equities. It could be a very basic course, right? That kind of validates your interest in a particular domain, right? I'm taking a very small example, right? You can pick up courses for marketing. You can pick up courses for supply chain, N number, right? You can take up physical courses for other soft skills. Could be speaking, anything, right? That you feel will help boost your overall. Sitting at home, you can do that. And now, like I already mentioned, right? A lot of companies have now opened up to the idea of doing virtual internships, right? You can pick up 2 months of internship with any firm, right? There are a lot of startups that provide internships virtually. You can just pick up, do 2-3 months of internship, right? And I would really suggest doing it in an organization and a role that interests you. Don't do internships just for the sake of internships. It is of no value at the end of the day. Pick up internships where you visualize yourself being there, say 3 years, 4 years down the line, or even 2 years, right? Because that is one learning I've always done. That's the takeaway. It's a key takeaway that I've seen. You wish that you were in a certain role in an organization, right? But that is all the information that comes to you is basically secondary. It is very important to get into industry and see for yourself what does it take. You may not even like the role you were so interested about getting into, right? You may not even like that role at the end of the day because of what all it takes, and you might be interested in something altogether. So pick up internships where you think you would like to grow, and it may and may not work out for you also, but it's a great way of learning, right? It will help again define your roadmap, your career path going forward, of what all things you can and want to do, and what all things you want to steer clear away from. So that becomes important. And again, it will help you in building your profile as well. So you can explore. A lot of organizations are open to the idea, especially after COVID, which was a limitation earlier. Even organizations in US are taking up virtual internships. So students sitting in India can pick up that up. So you can explore that option as well.
Yeah, one more question that has come, right? वेदांगी, नहीं, तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन बड़ा अजीब सा है, बताता हूँ मैं तुमको. One important question is like, how do you balance work ex? Because some students are here who are working, right? So Sartaj was also working when he was preparing for CAT. So Sartaj, ये बताओ जैसे working के साथ साथ CAT preparation कैसे मतलब की थी?
Right. So it takes effort, it takes and certain kind of conviction, because your compatriots would be out on weekends, right? I guess people who are working who have been working for the last couple of years at max, right? 2-3 years max. Assumption again, there could be more as well. So these are young people, and everybody is out on the weekend, right? Your compatriots who are not preparing, right? Could be your roommate, right? It requires a little conviction on your part to be able to be steadfast on the path that you have defined for yourself, right? You have to realize at the very first go that there's a limitation that you are going ahead with, which is time, right? It changes from person to person, organization to organization, but on a broader scale, time is something, right, which is a limitation for you currently, right? You need to plan accordingly. Whatever time post pre-work that you get, you have to maximize the utility, right? And that's what I said. You have to plan your way ahead. You need to see what will it take to crack CAT. That's the end objective, and then plan your way back, right? Plan which subjects you want to focus more on, plan which particular areas of say English, maths, or DLR you want to focus on, right? Be very precise. Again, you can't give a number of exams out there, right? You can't give a number of AIMCATs out there. So you need to again define the, say 15 to 20 is the average number of exams that you should give, and evaluate that. So time management is of key essence, and of course conviction. That is primary, right? So I'll give my example. I had a 6-day working, right? So the only day I used to get used to be on Sunday, and Sunday used to be weekend classes. That is 6 hours of classes, right? It can get to you after some time. So you need to be very convinced and right and very stubborn, right, with yourself in order to adhere to the timeline, right? So I would say this forms the very base around which, of course, like I've said, you build your strategy for yourself. Right. I believe there's another question. Is it mandatory to do certificates or internship for MBA profile or resume? Nothing in MBA is mandatory. Nothing in your interview is mandatory, right? It all depends on you. How do you want to build your profile? I did not do any certification prior to that, right? Of course, I had the opportunity since I was working. I had the opportunity because that builds your profile. That work experience builds it, right? But a lot of people don't do certification, even who are freshers, right? Internship, of course, is something you anyhow do, right? All of them, again, assumption being, in most of the cases, being an engineer, you would have spent 6 months of internship, 1 semester of internship with any organization. That forms the base. If you want to do more, there is no limitation that there should be n number of internships or 0 or 10. I will not put a number. You can do 15, 20, whatever you want, right? But if you say do internship of finance, marketing, all this throughout, right? And you go to an interview and say, I am interested in finance, right? Then it becomes a little muddle of what really you want to do, right? So if you are getting into MBA, right, you want to do that MBA, that clarity of thought on a basic level, I'm saying, I'm not saying you should know what you want to do, what role exactly you want to do, nothing, but a basic clarity of why, that is important. And if you say, I want to go ahead for take up finance as a major for myself, then that has to be justified at a certain level, right? They'll ask you questions around that. They'll try to see your interest, right? But if you can't kind of, you're not able to answer on those questions, then it kind of shows a lack of clarity or a lack of initiative on your part. So that is what we have to look for. Again, nothing is unmandatory. You can do absolutely nothing as well and still make it through, right? But it all depends on how you drive your interview at the end of the day, right? What direction you want the interview to go into. Be very clear. It's you who drives the interview, right? Whatever you say drives the interview. The interviewer will not.
Let's come to your own example, right? So if I remember correctly, you were very sure about in your IIM Bangalore interview that you wanted to do certain specialization. You were very clear about it, or you were not?
Right. I was on a very broad scale. They did say that yes, marketing is something I'm looking at. So they did ask me some terminologies for marketing, very basic, which you'll cover in Marketing 101 in your first year. STP, right? Segmentation, targeting, right? And positioning. It's a basic marketing framework. So if you say you're interested in marketing, you should be aware of some basic marketing terminologies out there, right? So STP is something that is to come. So there was one terminology, I think so it was for the interview for SP Jain. It's called guerrilla marketing. It's a terminology, again, it's a type of marketing that comes out. And it was on a direct question that was asked to me. So again, if whatever you write, whatever you say drives your interview. So say marketing, they will start scratching you in that direction. They'll start coaxing you to answer those questions. You may not know all of them. They completely understand that. But at a certain level, they'll get to know that, yes, you are interested and you spend time and effort in order to learn that. And that becomes the important aspect during your interview. You may not know all the answers. That is absolutely fine. But at the end of the day, they should be convinced that, yes, you are interested and your answers have validated that interest.
Okay, there's one more question that is coming, Sartaj. Like, भाई लोगों को लगता है DILR section बहुत tough है. So anything that you suggest for DI and LR, because ये section काफी make or break section होता है, because this is in the middle of the test, right?
Right.
And if you do not do well in the DILR part, your quant also starts getting affected.
Right.
So क्या किया था DILR के लिए?
Right. So DLR again, for me, spend more time on your weak areas, right? If time is a limitation, don't spend time on subjects, right, which you know you are good at, right? Don't spend time. It really feels good scoring those and doing those, marking those answers. But at the end of the day, the output and the kind of effort you want to put and the output you're getting is not in tandem, right? Spend more time on your weak areas, what you feel. I remember during my CAT, DLR was specifically difficult, and I ended up answering only 50% of those questions, right? The sets were very difficult at the end of the day. Don't get demoralized if you are not able to answer, right? And that was the lesson I took in the exam, because generally I used to be able to answer 70%, say 70 to 75% on an average in the DILR section. This was 50%. And I thought that, okay, it becomes really demoralizing. But you have to realize that fact that the same is true for everyone. We are not talking about percentage, we are talking about percentile, right? And you have to keep that in mind always. It's difficult for you, it's difficult for everyone. And that will define. And sure enough, even at 50%, the percentile that I got for DLR was pretty decent overall. So specifically, I will not be able to answer, okay, what specifically you want to look into DILR, because you have to first evaluate yourself in terms of what areas are you getting stuck at, right? It may be that it's not a problem of DILR at all. It's about how you manage your time, how you manage those questions, right? So that evaluation has to be done. Post every test series that you do, or even snippets. So you can, if DLR is your section, you can pick up just DLR sections, give a time limit, say of 1 hour, right, on an average. And you can try to bring it down to 45 minutes as well and see how many you can answer. You can just pick up the DLR section from the test series and start doing that. See, material is ample. In time, you get ample material, right? You can't do all of it. I could not do all of it. And it does not make sense doing all of it. It's fine. But make the most of it. Identify, if you've identified an area for yourself, keep practicing on that, but do it against a clock. Always do it against a clock, because that's the end objective. Answering the right answer is not the objective.
Okay. Okay. One more question, like, Satad, like, okay, you had a work experience, no doubts about it, and you were working with right. Mondelez. He was working with Mondelez. Mondelez is the basic company which manufactures, which makes, chocolates, right? Cadbury's. So he was basically the Cadbury's guy, right? So, okay. So, but you must have had your batchmates at IIM Bangalore who were freshers.
Right.
Can you throw some light on like how freshers, because there's a big myth that, freshers don't make it to IIM Bangalore.
There is no myth. There were freshers there. The idea here is, for freshers, what they do, I'll take the example of IIM Bangalore. They evaluate is how you have spent your time, right? They understand you are not from the industry, right? But those 4 years of college, right, or 3 years of college that you have spent your time, right? What were you doing, right? How did you spend that time? Was it just curriculum, or there was something else you explored? It could be sports, for all anyone cares, right? Right. There was a few sports people who did land up freshers, right? So that time evaluation, right? That productive output for yourself or for your career, that is what they were looking on a very broader scale, right? They, of course, they do get into, so if you're a fresher, your internship that you do becomes an important part. It becomes an important talking point, because interview is all about talking points. How many talking points can you cover for yourself for the interview to ask? Because if you don't provide the talking points, then he'll have to find something, right? And it may be in a direction that you don't want the interview to go into. So for a fresher, if you're a fresher, your internships, you can pick up, if you've done some thesis, right, in a particular subject, you can pick that up as well. Of course, if you're doing some digital certification courses, that again becomes a talking point. But be aware, there are a lot of certification that people do. they are more interested in how you utilize that, right? Doing a certification, it's fine. But they are more looking at the outcome of it, right? What did you learn from the certification? The certification itself does not help, right? Because in the interview itself, it might give you kind of a call itself. It might boost a profile. But while you're sitting in the interview, the certification itself will not help. You'll have to deep dive further. So be very clear of what you. So in NAM Bangalore, you have to write a 600 word, right? Letter of interest, right? And you have to list down why and how and everything, right? And those becomes the entire essay becomes a talking point for the interviews. They'll keep asking you, they'll keep, again, like I said, scratching the surface and exploring what is that you actually did. So anything and everything that you write becomes a talking point. Yes. Sir, if you're speaking, I think you're on mute.
Yeah. So there's another question which basically is there, like how much does the work experience matter in your final selection?
See, if you have seen the criteria, most of the institutes have kind of published their criteria on the website itself. So they give certain impetus to your marks and certain impetus to your WorkX as well, right? So where there is in certain institutes, the WorkX is given a higher weightage. So it does have an impact on the call and the final conversion as well. But it is no certainty, right? People having more WorkX does not mean that they're going to crack the interview, right? They might get a call, but there's not a certainty on that. But of course, you can go to websites. You can go to websites of Ahmedabad, Lucknow, Bangalore, Calcutta, right? All of them have published their formulas, right? How they calculate the overall score on which you get a call, and of course the final interview points are added, and then you get a final score. So it does have an impact, but again, it depends from institute to institute. So Calcutta, they does not give much impetus to WorkX, right? There are a lot of freshers in Calcutta. Bangalore, they do give, compared to Calcutta, they give impetus to WorkX. So you'll find people with, so our average WorkX for the batch was higher than Calcutta. So that becomes a kind of a parameter to judge which institute gives more impetus to WorkX. But again, it changes from institute to institute. FMS doesn't care about your WorkX at all, right? FMS actually doesn't even care about your interview. All it cares about is the CAT score, right? So every institute has its own criteria. You need to kind of see what the criteria is, how best you fit in that criteria, and which institute are your best shots at. So again, you have to be tactical there in terms of, okay, I want to go to X institute, but okay, this is their criteria. But Y institute is something I may be more aligned to in terms of my profile. So that evaluation also becomes important, and that becomes your key focus area. So you want to spend more time in cracking Y than cracking X at the end of the day, right? Because that is more realistic. Again, like I said, it's a strategy. You have to kind of think through that. But that strategy comes at the end of it, not while you're preparing exam. Don't think about the institute, what the criteria is, right? That will be post you've given your exam, then you move in that direction and then you start building, right? Before the exam, spend time in how to crack that. So you would have to be very focused, right? Don't spend time on identifying, okay, this institute or this is the kind of how I'm going to handle the personal interview. That's going to come later, right? First, focus on the exam itself, right? Because once you crack that, you have sufficient amount of time to prepare for your interviews in midst of it, right? And build, of course, profile you need to evaluate at the very first. So if you want to do some courses while you're preparing for exam, you can do that as well. So that is something that you can go along, but the focus should be on the exam initially. So that's what I'd say.
Okay. Thank you. Sartaj, now let's move on to something which I want you to discuss, because most of the students are very just keen about कि CAT में क्या करना है, preparation कैसे करनी है और CAT कैसे निकालना है. I want you to throw some light on, journey post CAT. I mean, the day you did your internship, summer internship, and then you came back to Bangalore, right? So you completed your summer internship, you came back to Bangalore, and then the final placements happened, right?
Right.
And then the job started, right? So what does it do to you? Basically, how does an MBA help you move from one level to, I think, at least 2-3 levels up? Because that's what the value addition is.
Of course. So I interned with Unilever since I was interested in marketing side. So I interned with HUL in the sales and marketing profile. Spending time there, of course, the internship happens at a pedestal that you'll join eventually if you join the organization, right? It's at the same pedestal, it's at the same role, and it's kind of same responsibility. So it kind of gives you the taste of what you will be doing once you join. So very important is to evaluate that role in that sense, that if do you really want to be doing this for at least for the next couple of years. That evaluation becomes important, and once you take it in such a stride, you start holistically evaluating the role and the organization, right? And so say you're doing your internship after your first year, right? You've covered some basic courses out there. You start implementing what you've learned, right? That becomes important. There's a lot of theory jargon projects that have happened in the last 1 year. Now the idea is to what in your role, what best you can start implementing. So say if I'm like marketing, so I'll start implementing concepts, say marketing 101. In third term, we can take up some elective courses. So I picked up elective courses of consumer behavior, being from the marketing background. So what all you can pick from those and implement it on your job. Not everything can be applicable. It depends on what role you are doing. But the idea is you start implementing what you have learned, right? And you get life analysis of how well those concepts work at the end of the day, because they are theories and concepts, right? They may or may not work. There are X number of exigencies that might happen. It may or may not work, but that journey of identifying that happens during after your first year during your summer internship, and that starts changing your thought process, right? There is no defined scope out there, right? It's the most that you can make, right? The best use that you can do of the internship, it all is all dependent on you, right? You have to identify, you'll be given a small project, right? With a title and a charter. That's beyond that, you have to take the initiative of talking to people, interacting, trying to understand what the outcome should be, and then start implementing your concepts, doing hit and trial, whatever you think would be applicable for the said project, right? So it becomes a kind of a mini corporate stint for you, right? You have to imagine yourself being working there and how best you can make use of that particular opportunity. So that is where your thought process starts to kind of elevate, and you start looking at a broader scale. You start defining strategies, you start defining plans, right? Start implementing your theories which you had mugged over the last 1 year, right? That's the first step where all those theories start becoming practical, kind of give you a practical outlook of the role that you're working.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And once you get into the job, like, so how is it all like, because you land into a job from, let's say, from IIM Bangalore. So you have colleagues who are from IIM Ahmedabad, you have colleagues from FMS, you have colleagues from SP Jain. So it's a very competitive environment, isn't it? So, what basic things, happen when you meet such a competitive peer group?
Right. So, of course, if you'll join an organization, you join as a part of an MT batch. So as part of MT batch, there are people from N number of colleges. And these are your compatriots and your competitors as well in the industry, right? The idea is how best you can, what all you can gain from those interactions. Curriculum is almost similar across all these institutes, right? But the idea is what are their experiences, right? These are people who may have work initially, who may have been part of the industry, right? It's all about getting the most out of every interaction, and then using that knowledge to kind of guide yourself. That is the most important part. They'll help you. They'll let you know of n number of things you can do to elevate. Say, when I came about, I joined the profile of an operations manager in the e-commerce setup. There was I had no experience of doing operations, right? Initially. So the idea was you either reach out to your seniors in the organization or within your compatriots or people who have background of operations, and you start interacting with them, start to identifying the key skill sets that would help you in your current job and also elevate further up the role or of the ladder, one would say. So that evaluation becomes important, and so you have to make use of all the interactions within the organization, right? It could be a senior, it could be a junior as well, it could be a compatriot. Everybody can help you in basically justifying your role in a better way, and that becomes important. So I would say make use of interaction, and that's a learning that then you take away for life also. It's not just MBA, it's for life. Your interactions within the college itself, the networks that you build, help you eventually somewhere or the other.
Okay. So I think that's a great this thing. So some students are asking, like, people who do have a work experience, right? The students who have work experience in IIM Bangalore vis-a-vis students who are freshers. So what is the difference that they see when it comes to final placements, final jobs? Is there a remarkable difference, or is it a minor difference, or is there no difference?
Sir, sorry, I missed that question. Difference with, sorry?
The difference is like people who had a work experience and studied at IIM Bangalore, people who did not have freshers studied at IIM Bangalore. So when it comes to final placements, like, what advantage or disadvantage, or is it everything same is for everyone?
No, so all these institutes have two final placement processes. One is your final placement that happened at the very end, and there's a lateral process that also happened. Lateral process is only open to people who have prior work experience. So people say Bangalore, we have people who had 3, 4, or 5 years of work ex. So certain organizations look for people who have prior experience, right? Maybe of their industry or some parallel industry. So it is all depending on the organization. Some organizations come for both the final and the lateral placement. Some just pick one. It all depends on their strategy, their plan. Yeah. With lateral, then the idea is they look at your background in terms of which industry and what role you were doing before MBA, and how valid is that for the role they are coming for. And if it kind of works out, then of course you might take up a role which is a notch above, say, someone who's a fresher. And the idea here is the industry wants to kind of wants to acknowledge the time you have already spent in the industry, and you have done your part, say, for 2 years, 3 years. So organizations want to validate that, yes, you have spent some time, and so you come with some pre-knowledge, and so this is the role that we are looking for with people with prior work experience. So they have an entirely different role. So I'll take the example of Amazon. Amazon has a pathway program which is only open for people who have 3 or more years of work experience. So freshers basically are not eligible for that role. So these kind of differentiations do come in, but that does not mean at all that it is linked to your compensation, right? Compensation for a WorkX guy can be less than for that of a fresher. It all depends what role, what industry, and what time, right? Sometimes a particular segment or a particular domain is booming, so the roles accordingly change, right? And the compensation of also accordingly change. So it all depends. That is the evaluation you have to do, right? If you are looking for what are your objectives out of this MBA, right? So that defines your path as well. So it is not linked. This work experience based roles are not linked to compensation, but yes, some organizations do kind of go only for experienced people, and some organizations they come for both experienced people with WorkX and people who are freshers as well.
Okay, Sataj, one direct question to you. Okay, right. When you went to IIM Bangalore, you went with certain expectations out of the program. Okay,
right.
And did those expectations change during the program and after you exited, right? So, or how much percentage were the expectations met?
Agree. So for me, there was a lot of learning. There was a lot of goalpost shifting that happened within IIM. So like I said, and I had an initial interest of marketing, and all my subjects initially, my internship, everything was oriented towards marketing. But having spent 2 months of my time in internship in sales and marketing role, gave me a realization that it may not be the best uh, domain that I would want to, right? That's a learning I took away. And then I kind of slowly moved towards the tech side. So I was more interested in tech organization, tech companies, right? Uh, the opportunities that they provide. So that's why I started applying for organizations, say Amazon, Flipkart, Paytm. That is where my interest moved. So for me, there was a transition away from traditional marketing. I'm not saying marketing, because marketing, there's a significant scope of marketing within the digital ecosystem as well within tech organizations. But the traditional forms of marketing, your modern trade, your traditional trade, right? Kind of. So that is something I'm steered away from during my second year of MBA, and that eventually culminated with me joining Paytm and kind of me wanting to join a tech organization.
So what I can infer is, yes, you go with certain things, you XYZ ideas in your mind, but then you over the period of internship or first, second trimesters, right? That starts changing also, and you're open to change, right? You are not going to stick to something. No, I have come with this only. I'll stick to this only. Typically people do change with their thing, like, because when they experience the waters, it's like when you sail in the waters, you really realize the depth of the waters, and then you understand that, okay, what I was trying to do was not probably the right thing, right? Exactly. It's about testing the waters, I would say.
So I've seen both spectrums. I've met people who came with a very specific focus of joining an X firm. That was their focus. So it can be, your objective could be anything. It could be a domain, it could be an organization, it could be a company, or it could be your own. You want to, after MBA, you want to start your own business, right? Anything could be, right? Some people stick to their guns and say, no, this is what I want to do, and they end up doing that as well. So there are both spectrums. I belong to that spectrum where we changed our priorities, where we kind of evaluated what is best and what industry matches my key skill sets or something that really want to do. But there are, of course, people who were pretty focused in which organization or which industry they want to join, and they ended up working there, joining as well. But a few of them then later down the line, a couple of years after joining, have now moved ahead. So again, sometimes the learning happens quick, sometimes the learning takes time. It all depends on you.
Okay. That's taken, right? That's a great idea. So we do have both kind of people going to premium B schools and then coming out of it, right? I think any other question that people want to ask? Let me run through the chat forums. Like, no, I don't think we have too many. I think anybody you want to ask anything specific, you can chat on put in the chat box so that we can answer things like these.
So there's a question of
how many hours one should study? इसका कोई significant answer नहीं है, Harshit.
I would answer that only.
बोलो.
Does not. I won't answer that question because it does not matter how much I studied. Does not matter. It has no impact. It will have no bearing on your outcome.
Correct.
Right. The objective has to be clear, and whatever it takes to get that objective, right? That includes time as well.
वही question पूछा जो मैं पूछना चाह रहा था, because we obviously cannot ask for CTCs, right, and current salaries. So what is the percentage jump in salary pre-MBA and post-MBA?
It depends on what we were doing pre-MBA, sir.
So for example, for you, like,
it was a significant jump for me, but then I had a mechanical background, right? So I then did my first stint in the organization in a manufacturing setup. So, but people who are doing software engineers, right, who get into tech organizations post their undergraduate, the quantum of jump may not be that significant as well. But yeah, so if you want to look for average salaries packages, right, everything is there on the website. So you can define the averages are there. You can see if it makes sense, it doesn't make sense, right? But what I'll tell you is the immediate jump is not the right barometer that you'll get. MBA is, you have to look at as a course with a long-term objective, right? MBA, if you look at through the prism of a quantum jump over 2 years, that's your objective. That's my take. That may be a bit of a wrong perception to go by. Of course, it has an impact, right? You are looking for a quantum jump, but it will also see the trajectory that you will be taking post your MBA, and had you been not doing your MBA and continuing with the current role, right? Is there, in your current role, is there a ceiling that is coming in, right? Because you are an undergraduate, right? Is there a ceiling that you might? So these are things you have to foresee. The things, and that you'll get to know, you'll start organizing. If you're working, you need to interact with senior people in your organization and get to know. And then you evaluate whether this is the trajectory you want to take. And you can also interact with, then every organization has senior folks who have done their MBA, right? And then you understand their trajectory. And then you can do a kind of apples to apples comparison and say that, okay, this is the path I would really want to take. The monetary jump over 2 years, for me, what I'll say is a very myopic objective, especially for a course where you spend 2 years, X amount of money and time, right? So I think the objective should be a bit broader, right? And you should have a bit of a long-term objective out there. So that is my take. Everybody has their own objective. So I would.
Okay, what I would just like to add to what Siddharth said. Like, I think MBA education, right? It's basically about an investment in your own self, right? It's basically an investment that you're making in your own career, and that investment, as in the case of investment in the stock markets, right? It is going to give you returns in the long run, right? It might not be very immediate. It might not be very immediate. So probably the benefits of doing an MBA from a good institution and then get into a good job, the benefits might come 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line also. So you might not have an immediate return kind of a thing, right? And so is the concept of ROI जो होता है, जो काफी students के पास रहता है question, right? कि मैं इतना invest कर रहा हूँ अभी, and what is the ROI from that B school? I even don't find that very, a convincing argument, right? मतलब ROI किस पे calculate कर रहे हो? Median, mean salary पे. You might not be in the mean salary bracket. You might be higher than the mean. You might be lower than the mean, or you might be upper part of the median, lower part of the median. कोई guarantee नहीं है कि तुम कहाँ जाओगे. तो तुम्हारा जो pre-joining calculation है ROI का, that might actually be not at all correct. वो बिल्कुल गड़बड़ हो सकता है. So taking a decision on that basis, I think, is a very, I can say what you said, Sartaj, correctly. It's a myopic way of looking at things. It's not a very long-term way of looking at things, right? So, okay. Do's and don'ts in CAT preparation, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. PI और GDPI के लिए तो I think we are very much with you, and Sartaj is a testimony to that. कि हमने बड़ी शिद्दत से हम मेहनत करते हैं इसके ऊपर कि GDPI में एक आंसर हम तुम्हारा पकड़ेंगे, पढ़ेंगे, इवैल्यूएट करेंगे, ठीक कराएंगे. आई थिंक IIM बैंगलोर का जो SOP होता है वो कई बार एडिट होता है बिफोर बीइंग फाइनली सबमिटेड. एक बार में तो वो 600 वर्ड्स का SOP बन ही नहीं पाता है, राइट? It does take time to write a 600 word SOP for IIM Bangalore, right? It's not an easy thing. So वो तो that we'll be doing, right? So I think any more question? I think if there's anything, exchange program at IIM Bangalore, I think there are some, but that you can
exchange program a lot of colleges have them. ठीक है, इसका it's a good thing to have, right? You want to travel, do that, but इसका it will have no impact on your trajectory, right? That you take up, right? But it's a good to have. So I didn't go because I was more invested in my club activities, but a lot of people went. So yeah, most of the good colleges have an exchange program.
Okay. So okay. It is like, I think, the frills, right? The frills.
It is a frill. It is a frill. It is a frill.
The frills do look attractive.
It is. No doubt. It is.
Right. So I think Sartaj, wonderful to have you. Interact with our students, and we all wish you all the best in your journey, right? PTM and way forward. Right. And I think everybody who joined on time has enjoyed the session and have got some clarity about how an MBA basically transforms an individual, from a graduate to a postgraduate and then to a management professional. And that was the idea behind organizing this session. And I'm really, again, once more, thanks to Siddharth, and thanks everybody for joining. And it has been a great session, and I hope I wish all the best to Sataj and to everybody around. So please keep going and keep your faith on time and your center directors like Darpan sir in Gwalior and Anupam in Banaras and Rajiv sir in Dehradun, and obviously मैं हूँ Chandigarh में. So we are all there with you. So to see that a lot of people वो आपको मिलेंगे, right? So all the best to you and thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. And thanks everyone for joining in, and all the best.